can't take forever to go live, man. It says I'm live. It's usually trustworthy. Colin, you're exactly right. 3 Q&As in a row. Who could have ever predicted that something like that would happen? No, off the left eye, Matthew, that was just me. No one's moderating this right now, so I can't type any more stuff, so that's the only time off the left eye is going to talk. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, we went back and forth. We didn't know if we were going to have people do this since we just did Q&As, and are people going to get overwhelmed by it? But it doesn't even have to be Q&A. It can just be whatever's on our mind. I want to start talking about perception, by the way, which is one of the greatest things in the Swedenborg. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you a secret about a bonus possibility once a few more people jump onto this stream here. Perception, this is from New Jerusalem 140. Perception is seeing what is true and good by means of an inflow from the Lord. That's how we get to the angelic state, is you can just tell what's good or what isn't. This is what Swedenborg had that sort of made him Swedenborg. Hey, Sean. Hello, David. Hi, Rick. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Okay. I'll take the first question, then I'll give you the secret reward possibility. Colin Vickers, true or false? Oh, good. This is going to be a quick one. While not the apotheosis of a person's character, suicide is a decisive expression of their heartfelt rejection of the Lord's will, providence, etc. My will be done, not thine. It depends. Depends on what the state of heart and mind is. Angels can look at any action in 1,000 different ways, depending on how much was a person in their right mind when it was happening. I guess I'm not really giving a true or false. So false. It's false. It's false. Because Swedenborg talks about people who are driven to suicide by spirits. It's allowed in Providence, but they're not in possession of their faculties at the time. He talks about the difference between impulsive stuff and premeditated stuff. So you can't know. It sucks. I've known people. I've had friends that committed suicide, and one thing I'm pretty sure of is when you get in that state, you don't understand the hole that you're going to leave in people's lives. But to say it's a rejection of Providence, I don't think you can, because you never know how muddled somebody's thinking is or what their motives are. I do know I had somebody I knew who took their own life, and they thought, well, I believe they thought they were making people safer by doing it. So yeah. Hey, Sean, good to see you here. Hey, Tristan. Hey, Gwen. Okay, so Rick says, question, I enjoyed the X-Files and Star Trek themes episodes. Will you make more of these? Maybe do a fundraiser to produce a few more episodes. Mashups? Is that what they're called? Should we do a little more off the left eye mashups? Yeah, we could. Well, in the chat, what world would you like us to jump into? What's another theme that you think could tell a Swedenborg spiritual story well? Okay, so something I want to say. There's a special promotion going on right now. You don't have to, since we were just doing Giving Tuesday, right? And we just did the question stream beforehand. People maybe all donated out. You don't have to donate. But if anybody donates, offtheLefteye.com/donate during this Wednesday, I will, on camera, write you a thank you note, and then I'll mail it to you at your house. Is that an incentive? I'll write it here, right on this piece of paper. We'll get a good one going. So if you want to, offtheLefteye.com/donate. Any donation, large or small, will get you a personalized public writing of a thank you note. Let's see what we got. Jason, Laura. Hello, everyone. I need support once again. A best friend passed away, and my heart is broken right now. Love you, friend. Rest in peace. So let's send our hearts out to Jason right now. And I was just talking about the hole that is left when somebody passes away, and It's nothing we can take away, but we are thinking of you. And dare I say that your sweet friend is thinking about you too. I'm sure that's how it works. So from me and everyone on the team and everyone in the chat, like we're here for you. And grief is a terrible marathon, but you're not alone in it. Matthew Bush, hey, great to have another opportunity to ask you questions. Ask away. Oh, hey, Sarah's got one. Is doing acts of kindness to others get you closer to God and your loved ones in heaven? Yes. Doing acts of kindness to others, especially if you're doing them not really thinking about why you're doing them, but just like, oh, because it's going to be good. That is the way in which we're reformed. And even if we can't really be sure, do we have good motivations or not? If Swedenborg really says that the best acts we do are not doing bad things, right? So the main work of spiritual growth is to say, I'm not going to cheat people or hurt people. And in doing that, that actually opens up a pathway for us to do that good stuff cleanly. So that's my thinking on that. Oh, right. All right. I got to go get my phone because Gwen is going to text me if anybody does donate afterlife.com so I can write the thank you note. But right now, if one of you did, I wouldn't even know it. Actually, yeah, let's do that. Okay, I'll be right back. My phone is just down in the parking lot, so I'm going to go to I'm just kidding. It's right here. All right. It's terrible. It's terrible form. Okay. Come on, I got to set my settings to, not shut off right away. Display and brightness, auto lock, never. Okay. Ready to go. All right. Let's see what's on next. Eddie, thanks for the woohoo. Yeah, I feel the same way. All right. Okay. Merry Christmas to you too, Pena. Scanning for... Okay. Colin's got another one. And then I see Rick. Get your questions in. Or whatever you want to chat about. If you were to write an epistle to contemporary Americans, what would you say? I feel like we are really unaware of love of dominion. So the primary evil, the thing that makes hell in you is the love to dominate other people. I think that we have this like raging national conversation that's like, oh, these ideas versus these ideas, but without us realizing that the enemy is our desire to dominate each other, you can never untangle that. So I would say, look, you don't, just like we were saying before, if somebody does something extreme action, even like suicide, it's really about what's in your heart. People can be saying the exact same talking points. They can be, pulling up the same truths or half truths, but it can be if the motivation is wrong, that's what's causing all the problems. So I would talk to people about, look, we need to get serious about examining love of self and doing our part to push back against that. Hey, Jenny. Rick Rouse says, what does Swedenborg say about dealing with fear and anxiety? Man. I have sort of like dealing with fear and anxiety through Swedenborg's stuff is really what brought it to life for me. Like that was what drew me to it, because I was struggling a lot with anxiety and depression, and I was having a hard time making any progress on that. And it was Swedenborg's message that helped me with that. He says very little directly about anxiety and depression. Those words, I mean, those terms, those ideas were not really in circulation in his day. But the stuff he writes about is absolutely applicable. The first thing that helped me was the idea of heaven and hell and their influence on us, which might seem a little strange, but when he talked about the way that hell and demons, which are just people who have chosen evil and now they're in the spiritual world and now they can affect you, that hell is what is making the negative stuff that's in your head, and heaven is what's making the positive stuff that's in your head. That was a real light bulb moment for me, because suddenly I had all this depression and these aggressively clever, personal, negative thoughts and opinions and everything like that were coming after me. And it must just be true. Why would I say this about myself? But understand, that's not from you. That's from outside. That did it for me. And then it was divine providence. Reading those passages about how every moment of every moment is part of the Lord's divine plan to absolutely lead to the best possible outcome for you. That is the kryptonite for anxiety and depression. But it's hard to really believe it. But you can believe it through working on it. And there's times when it comes really strong. And then that's what has been really good for me. Okay, hey everybody, there's new people here. You don't have to donate. We did a lot of donating recently. If you want to do something fun, offtheLeftEye.com/donate, I will write you a personalized thank you, and I'll mail it to you at your house. Like, I'll write it right now on the camera. And if nobody does it this time, I'm gonna try it again next time, and someday I can be patient. All right. David says, do we really have an unseen halo in this life? Yes. If you're talking about a halo like around your head, Swedenborg describes halos in the afterlife. He says that they're displays that indicate what your something about the condition of your thought. I forget exactly what part of that it is, but he goes a lot farther to talk about auras. And he says that there's some kind of physical aura. I don't know, what is that, like electromagnetic? I don't know what that is. But he talks at length about spiritual auras, which is your mind projected around your spirit. So everybody you encounter in the spiritual world, who all of us, by the way, who are physical, have a spirit in the body. We can't sense that aura because we don't have our spiritual senses open, but spiritually, what you love and what you think and who you are is projecting all around you. And it can be really pleasant or really unpleasant, or a mix. But yes, there's that going on. Richard says, can those who have been murdered seek revenge upon those when they cross over to the spiritual world? Yeah, I mean, you probably don't want to. I wouldn't advise seeking revenge, because revenge is really sticky. Swedenborg describes spirits who were obsessed and addicted to revenge, and even describes them like these sort of like tar that they can't let go of. They've gotten this joy of revenge in them, and then they can't let go of it. So that seems to be pretty spiritually toxic to want to go take revenge. On the flip side, there is a lot of revenge that happens in the afterlife, but it's not because the person who is murdered is interested in going and enacting that revenge. Actually, people who have murderers, Swedenborg describes several times them running into the person that they murdered and being terrified by that. And even the person who was murdered, even if they, are approaching them without a ton of malice, the person who did the murdering is so destroyed by conscience and by fear that it's very painful for the murderer. So murderers do not have to face it, and they don't get away with it. But it's not necessarily because there's a driving, like, revenge attack from the person. Okay. We've got it. I'm going to write a thank you note. Ellen. Ellen made a contribution. Thanks, Ellen. Appreciate it. So let's see. I'm going to write thank you. And you guys can see that I have an issue, which is that I'm left-handed. So it's hard for me to not write something that seems like it was written by a child. See, that looks kind of like a kid's writing, right? All right. So what I want to say, Ellen, is this meaning what we're doing here right now couldn't happen without you. Like, Ellen is helping all of us do this right now. All right, so that's that, and I'll draw some things on it and stuff like that before I send it out. But thank you so much, Ellen. I'll embellish it, but I'll draw some flowers. Thank you, appreciate it. If anyone else wants to do it, offthelefti.com/donate. It's for a good cause. We're spreading the message that's trying to give out the sort of help to people that Swedenborg's given to all of us. All right. Hey, Eddie Cooper says, are we pre-existent? And do we have the choice to come and or return to Earth if we want to help humans in a human rather than angelic form? Swedenborg says, or I wouldn't say that Swedenborg says we are not pre-existent, but Swedenborg never mentions pre-existence. There's, pre-existence in the sense that we are meant to be the embodiment of a certain feeling of God's, which obviously has existed for all time. So yeah, there's sort of pre-existence there. Return to Earth in a human form. Well, the angelic is the human form. They're the same. If you mean come back into a physical body, Swedenborg doesn't indicate that can happen. But if you're talking about appear to people in a human form that are on Earth and speak with them, that very much can happen. So yeah, I'm going to put on Ellen's note. So since we talked about angelic form, I'm going to draw a little angel in the corner, just so you know, Ellen, when this gets to you, what this is all about. And I'll draw it like a human form. Oh, it's hard for me to draw the human form. So there's the angel up there. Okay. So, hi, Eric. Hey, Betty. Pena says, question, does Swedenborg talk about the dead resurrecting? My son died 3 times and came back. That must have been really terrifying. And Swedenborg talks about himself going through the dying process, but without actually dying. So he's shown what it's like. He doesn't talk extensively about it, but so many people who have had near-death experiences, which line directly up with what Swedenborg reports. I mean, we've done many shows about this. They talk extensively about being clinically dead for quite a long time and then coming back. And it's all about the soul's connection to the body, and it can get stretched without being broken, and then you come back in. So that's what I'd say about that. Thanks for being willing to share what you've been through with your son there. Let's see. Colin says, I donate to join others in those Zoom games you all used to play during quarantine. Yeah, we do play Zoom games. Would that be fun? Like a group Zoom come and play. Well, right now we play something called Jackbox games, which is just like little word games and stuff. Yeah. Okay. We can get that going. Yeah. Well, if anyone wants to donate and put a little note in there, I'd like to play games with everyone. We can make it happen. Put it in there. Hi, Scott. So, Renee. I know that I say it Renee now. Question. Hi, Curtis. In your opinion, what's the best flow to understand the writings of Swedenborg? Is there an order or books? Is it more where we are spiritually as to what books to read? Wow. Oh, man. There's other people that would probably know that better than I would. You can go the interest route. I mean, we made this video a long time ago called Who Was Swedenborg? What Should I Read? Where Jonathan Rose gives this great summary of who he is and what each of his works offers. And you can certainly say, well, if you're interested mostly in the features of the afterlife, you go to heaven and hell. If you're interested mostly in the inner sense of the Bible, go to Secrets of Heaven. If you're interested most in morality and Christian theology, go to True Christianity. If you're interested in the raw data, go to Journal of Spiritual Experiences. But there was also sort of a progression that Swedenborg had. I mean, and this is like Jonathan Rose, other people, Stuart Shotwell, people would know this way better than I do, but it seemed like he had an initial phase where he had written Secrets of Heaven, and then he had a number of books, including Heaven and Hell, that were meant to just call back to Secrets of Heaven. Like, hey, this is a preview, and then get in there and read that thing. But later on, he started to refer to other books. New Jerusalem is a great starting point because it is a summary of everything of his. I would say, man, I what I do personally is I just dip in wherever. I pick up a book and start reading it. I've never read them all back to back all the way through in order. I just like surfing. I just like surfing through and picking stuff out. Is revenge hell? If you get to this question too. Revenge can be a hell. A hell is when the pleasure of evil is felt as good. That is hell. So revenge, if you're enjoying revenge, that's a kind of hell. Matthew, you're a lefty too. All right, great. Sean Smith says, don't worry, Curtis, I'm right-handed and it's hard for me too. Yeah, it's true. I can't blame all of my bad writing on the left-handed thing. Eric Rockham says, I heard Bishop Barron say, Bishop Barron is a Catholic YouTuber, that if there's a theme to the Bible, it is that bad outcomes result from wrong prayer. Is there room in Swedenborg's correspondences for this concept? There's a lot of room in correspondences because there are multiple layers of meaning, and at times Swedenborg seems to indicate that you can pull many good interpretations from the same passages. Swedenborg wouldn't say that that's the theme of the Bible. I mean, it might be the theme of the external sense. In Swedenborg's correspondences, the theme of the Bible is the story of our spiritual regeneration, the story of us being rescued out of the hell that I was just talking about that we start in and ending up in heaven, which is the same thing as the story of Jesus Christ's life because he was going through that same process. I mean, I'd have to hear more about what Bishop Barron was saying. I'm sure there's some point of confluence in there. And from what I've seen of the guy, he seems good and like he's loving what's good and true. So could be. But wrong prayer, I mean, you know, wrong intention. If you're doing good things for the wrong reasons and you're doing bad things for the wrong reasons, then that leads to bad things. Is karma a thing according to Swedenborg? Yeah, it is. It's not quite in the way some people portray it. Man, we had this is the law of attraction real? We did an episode on that. That I think it addresses that. Hey man, I searched the law of attraction real and all these other people come up. Bad form. We got to get more. Everyone go and like the videos, subscribe, do all that stuff so we can get higher up on these search results, man. Come on, ours is a great take on that. All right, I'll post that in here. Bam. Oh, right, that's going through these headphones here. Cool. All right, let's see. Oh, hey, anybody, if anybody else wants to, go to offtheleft.com/donate, and I will write you a thank you note live on air, and we'll mail it to your house. I got a great one cooking for Ellen here. What should we give Ellen? Let's draw the spiritual sun on here. The spiritual sun is the first emanation of the Lord. This is divine love and wisdom itself that powers everything. Swedenborg goes on and on. He says, like, the spiritual sun, he has whole chapters. He talks about it way more than I want him to. It's just like, what does it matter? But I've slowly grown to just believe or see how important the correspondence of the Lord to the Son is. Okay, so yeah. What else do we got here? Oh man, Amy Elliott said, "I'm interested in marriage in the afterlife. What book would you recommend?" Oh man, Swedenborg has a book that's called Married Love. Usually, the title is Conjugal Love. Conjugial, so not conjugal love, but conjugal love. That book is entirely about marriage and marriage in the afterlife. It's some rough sailing at times. That book is controversial among Swedenborgians. There are some things in there that people feel like are very of Swedenborg's time period. It may rub you the wrong way. You may like it a lot. You can check that out. Also, though, in Heaven and Hell, you can download the PDF of Heaven and Hell for free. There's a section in there on marriage in heaven, which is really succinct and really good. But he has a ton to say. Also, I would recommend, we have an episode called Spiritual Marriage. I would recommend watching our stuff. That's where I would start. Not that I'm biased in any sense of the word. Oh, I don't want they do this little like timing thing here. I don't want that. We don't even need that and symbol. So here's Spiritual Marriage. This is for Amy. There's Spiritual Marriage. And then we also did Married Love Swedenborg. We also did a summary of his book, Marriage Love. Which is Conjugal Love, the one I was talking about. You might want to check that out. So, man, that's what I would say, Amy, about that. He sure does have a lot to say. Okay. So, and pretty soon we're going to be wrapping up. What Buck Williams says, was it true Swedenborg spoke to Martin Luther, the father of Protestantism? Swedenborg claims to have. Yep. And we did a show that's called What Happens to Celebrities in the Afterlife. And unless I'm greatly mistaken, which when have I ever been greatly mistaken? Martin Luther is featured in this episode. So I'll post that in the chat for you right now. You're welcome, Amy. I'll post that in the chat for you right now. Ryan Bolton says, immediately after we die, we are in the spiritual world where we decide and eventually make our way to heaven or hell. But can somebody's soul be in heaven or hell while still alive on earth? Yes. Our spirit is in the spiritual world right now. It moves around in communities, and it can absolutely be in heaven or hell. Usually it's more moving along in between, but Swedenborg does talk about people who have really consciously chosen one or the other. After you die, you basically go straight away to the people that you want to be with. The Cube says, what's the difference between revenge and self-defense? It's all motive. It's all about motive. Again, one action, 1,000 interpretations by an angel. Swedenborg says, you can be acting out of love and charity and, attack someone who's attacking you. You can turn them over to a judge. He lists a few things there. It's not about, you can never, use violence or restrain someone or do whatever you need to do. It's about what's your intent. Are you doing this because you enjoy hurting the person? He says the qualifier is if that person stopped being a threat or came to their senses, does your rage against them stop? And would you ever be willing to maintain the intention of becoming that attacker's friend if they were to reform? So that's the difference. Colin Vickers says, really looking forward to Heaven Lab and the event next summer. That's right, man. We got Heaven Lab, which is secret, top secret, but it's like it's going to be our long form, deep learning system. We're getting close. We're getting close on a first course for that. And then coming in June, the Off the Left Eye Experience, sign on up. Okay. All right. So yeah. All right, we got one more question. We'll do one more here, I think, before we sign off. Are the churches that take the Bible literally, like snake handlers and rapture believers, harmful? I don't think. It depends. I mean, they can be harmful in, like, you certainly hear about people who are raised in certain churches having a terrible initial experience and it messes up their lives. But there's nothing inherently harmful about most kinds of worship. Swedenborg talks about how God will work with whatever principles we adopt early in childhood and bend them towards what's good. If you can focus on God, love of the neighbor, and love of what's good through a lot of forms. So if you can do that stuff, if it's leading you to think about God and think about loving the neighbor, how does it make you act, and why do you really believe it? Because you can believe in the rapture, and it's just an excuse to feel hatred towards people who aren't yours and enjoy imagining them getting punished, and to think of yourself in a group that's better than other people. Or you could kind of believe that naively and actually be really worried for other people, and then you could be still a good person. So Swedenborg actually in one passage says that somebody could, go and destroy all of Christianity, but do it for a reason that they thought was good, and they could go to heaven. And somebody could go and spread the Christian church to the whole world, but do it for a bad reason, and that could be hell. So it ain't about what's going on externally. It's what are your motives, and it's not for everything. Like if you have a religion that has sacrifice, human sacrifice in it, yeah, there's certain things that you can't get goodness out of. But I think that the tent is a lot broader than you might think. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I think that's about it. Just checking all the questions. Yeah, man, I'll get Jonathan Rose back on sometime. It's been a while since he and I did anything duo. Cool. Thanks, everybody. And thank you, Ellen. This episode was brought to you by Ellen. I'll finish up your letter and I'll send it right to you. Appreciate it. Hope you have a great day, everybody. Talk to you later. Happy Wednesday. All right. See ya.